Welcome and hello. Today we are talking about stress management, which is ironic because both Lily and I have had technical issues on this side. Yeah, but we're all here. At the end of the day, it worked out. You are here, and I cannot wait to hear what you have to say, Lily. For anyone who doesn't know of Lily, you should absolutely be following her on Instagram. Lily started at least as an English teacher. I'm not sure if you're still teaching English as part of your job, but I know that you've also recently been certified to do life coaching. You've been certified with Reiki. You've been certified with a whole bunch of other stuff. And your focus really over the last maybe 6 months has kind of shifted into more stress management, productivity, the finding your inner peace. And I think for a lot of teachers that is incredibly helpful, both online and in the real world. Stress management is everything with teaching. So welcome. I cannot wait to hear from you, my dear. I'm going to allow you to take this away. I'm going to turn off the mics and all of that. And then obviously anyone who has a question, please feel free to use the chat box for now. And then we'll open it up for Q&A at the end. Awesome. Okay.
So since I'm a bit stressed right now, and I have to admit it, so we are humans and things happen in our life that we cannot predict. That's exactly what happened today. And so before we start, I want to offer you a little exercise. You will do it together with me because I need it as well. And let's start with making sure that your jaw is relaxed, because that's where we keep our attention. Make sure that you don't clench your teeth. Relax your chest and your tummy. Take a deep breath. And now you can take your fingers like this, put it on the chest, and just step like that. That's what usually moms do when kids cry, right? So that's really soothing. Okay. I think that's better. All right then. So I have prepared a PPT because I really want to stay on the subject and to give you as much information as possible, because this subject is really vast, it's huge, and I want to share so many things with you guys. So now I will open my PPT. Just a few words about who I am. I was an English teacher and I still do teach, but much less than I taught before. And now I'm deeply into stress relief and emotional intelligence. So I am an author of stress relief program, EQ coach, stress and trauma relief specialist, and Reiki master. And of course, I got into this because I was very stressed. And it was very difficult for me to cope because I had so many things going on in my life. And I think we all agree that teaching is very stressful. We need to, adapt to every time changing curriculums. We need to make sure that our children, our students progress quick enough, that we prove ourselves to people around us. And as teachers, we have this social stigma that we should be, at least I have met that in my country, and I'm from Russia, that you have to be very well set. Everything should be good in your life. You should have great mental health, and you should be an example of how great the life is. So you have this pressure to look good, to be a good teacher. And all that pressure was too much for me to handle. And I finally started to have some very severe physical symptoms of stress. And that's what stress does. We usually do say that, oh my God, all diseases come from stress. We do say that, but we don't really know that it is really true. It's like that. We don't understand how serious it is. Because when we get sick, when we get a stomachache, we don't go to see a psychologist, we go to see a doctor. So which helps us really to combat not the reasons why these things happen. So today I'm going to share with you some amazing knowledge of neuroscience and biology and show you how we can manage stress in our bodies and how that can help us to improve our lives. But first of all, I would like to start with some crazy stats just to show you how bad sometimes things, in teaching industry. So that's what I found on the internet. 90% of new teaching jobs openings are caused by teachers abandoning the profession. And up to 61% of teachers are actively considering finding a different line of work. 50% of those leaving the education workforce do so to stress-related reasons. 47% of teachers report experiencing depression, anxiety, or panic attacks due to work-related stress. A staggering 90% of new openings are caused by teacher stress to the point of abandoning the profession entirely. So 57% of teachers, of stress teachers, thought of leaving the profession due to the rising health issues. Some of the main teacher stress symptoms were insomnia, which increased to 56% from 41, and mood swings accompanied by irritability, which saw a rise from 37% to 51%. Additionally, over 40% reported tearfulness, lack of concentration, and forgetfulness as recurring symptoms. Teacher stress management is not getting enough attention. As far as I know, when I was working, nobody really taught me how to manage stress. I've learned psychology in the university, but we never talked about stress management. As 65% of teachers aren't comfortable even mentioning their health issues and teachers' stress levels to the superiors. Like, I can't imagine when I worked in international school to go to tell my principal that I'm stressed. I can't do that. 36% feel they have no support at work regarding their mental health, and 64% of schools do not conduct surveys of staff well-being. That's why I think it's very important to raise awareness, how important it is, mental health for every human being, but for teachers especially, because we work with kids. We definitely, each and every one of us had a teacher in our life who made us doubt ourselves. Like, I had a teacher like that. We also had teachers in our lives who inspired us to become educators. That's why it's so important to manage our lives and keep calm so we can give our best to our students. We can regulate our own stress. We can help them to co-regulate. Our students usually always look up to us, not just as teachers. We're really examples for many of them. So the next thing I wanted to tell you is the symptoms of stress, and there are 4 different types of them. There are physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, behavioral symptoms, and cognitive symptoms. And physical symptoms, I would say that like 100% of times, if you have stomachache, if you have upset stomach, and that lasts for like very long time, that means you are stressed. It's not because you don't have a proper diet. So irregular bowel movements, involuntary twitching, shaking, irregular missed periods, getting sick more often than normal, chest pains with or without tachycardia, headaches, nausea, muscle aches, trouble sleeping, heartburn, indigestion, fatigue, flushed skin, even acne, unusual changes in weight. Those are physical symptoms of stress. Emotional symptoms, less than normal patients, feelings of sadness or depression, feelings of being overwhelmed, restlessness, reduced or eliminated desire for activities once enjoyed or regularly done, irritability, sense of isolation, trouble coping with life's issues. Behavioral symptoms, change in eating habits. Like personally for me, I overeat when I'm stressed. I'm always hungry. Change in sleeping habits, new or increased use of drugs or tobacco, nail biting, pacing, delay to complete some everyday responsibilities, like what we call procrastination, significant change in school or work performance, unusual desire for social isolation, frequently lying, trouble getting along with peers such as co-workers, classmates, teachers. And cognitive symptoms, impaired concentration. And I got myself to the point, it was very serious, when I would have, I would go to the shop to buy something and I would stand there and I don't know what I come here for. It was scary. And I really thought that it had something to do like with, I don't know, with maybe my motherhood or whatever, but it's all about stress. So trouble with remembering things, chronic worrying, anxious thoughts or feelings, reduced or impaired judgment, impaired speech, repetitive or unwanted thoughts. All of these are the symptoms of stress you want to watch out for. All right, so the next thing I want to tell you is how stress affects the body, because I just told you the symptoms and some people might think that like, okay, it can be just a coincidence. I will explain to you how the stress works. So every time when we have this system, right? The system, the anxiety system, our protective system that's supposed to protect us from danger. And it's very ancient. It's located in this part of the brain. It's called the reptilian brain. And it didn't evolve at all. So pretty much that side of the brain is very much an animal side of us. And everything, all the processes that happen there, it's just, when that part of the brain is triggered, this part, the thinking part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, just shuts down. It just goes off. So when we are stressed, we cannot really think straight. We cannot decide what is the right thing to do. And we cannot control what is happening in our body because it happens subconsciously. Everything goes on like automatically. We have no control over it. So how does it work? Our brain, what happens to our brain when we are stressed? As I said, difficulty concentrating, anxiety, depression, stuff like that. But the first thing that suffers from stress is the immune system. What happens when you are stressed, the brain gives the signal, and later I will explain to you how exactly this works. The brain gives the signal to the body to release hormones of stress, which is cortisol and adrenaline. And that is all okay. And our body can survive that amount of very toxic hormones in our blood for some short period of time. So it's supposed to work this way. Like you have this boost of hormones, your blood is pumping faster in your body. So to give you an opportunity to run away from the saber-toothed predator. But what happens to us, we live every day being stressed about things like rent, family, children, or work, but our brain, our body doesn't know the difference between like running away from a real danger, like a saber-tooth predator, or from a landlord. It sees no difference. We release exactly the same amount of toxic stress hormones, and our body can work with that, but not when it happens every day. No creature on earth can survive that amount of stress hormones in the blood every day. So it's supposed to have some physical impact on the body. So things and systems in our body that suffers from stress first. When the hormones of stress start working in your body, your immune system shuts down, because I think it's even logic, right? When you are running away from saber-tooth predator, okay, you're running away from a tiger, you don't need to fight the infection in your body. So that's how the body works. You first run away from the tiger, then we're going to manage your infection. So the immune system shuts down. When your immune system is weak and you feel you're getting sick very often, for me, at my worst times, it was like once or twice a month, sore throats, runny noses, fever. This is the biggest sign you can get that you are stressed, you're very stressed. Next thing is the joints and muscles, like back pains, bones pain. For some people it's knuckles when you get very angry all the time, because our body tenses up. You are getting ready to fight someone who is about to attack you. So of course this tension stays in the muscles, and that's where you're going to feel that this something uncomfortable going on in your muscles, in your body. Next thing is the cardiovascular system, of course, because every time when cortisol and adrenaline pump is in your blood, your heart is pumping faster. And so, of course, you might have, some people, in some extreme situations, you might get heart attack, high blood pressure, higher cholesterol levels. What happens to the skin? Skin always gets a blast when you're stressed, usually some irritation. For me, it was a severe acne. It was terrible, and I couldn't do anything about it. Then our gut. as well. Like the same thing, like if you're running away from a tiger, your body doesn't think it needs to digest food at that time. So it's going to deal with digestion later when you are calm. But the thing is, you don't return to homeostasis because you are getting stressed out because of the things that are going on every day in your life. So of course the gut suffers most of all. Then reproductive system, and that suffers as well because you don't need to think about like, having children when you're running away from the tiger. So, and as I said, the brain, every time when your reptilian brain is activated because of the danger, because of the stress, this prefrontal cortex stops working. So you cannot really analyze things. There is a disbalance between left and right hemispheres of your brain. That's where the anxiety starts, depression, irritability, mind fog, mood swings, and stuff like that. So let's get deeper into this and we'll see how this works. So how the stress works. First of all, we have this little thing you can see on the PPT that's called amygdala, and this is our anxiety center. So information arrives at amygdala, and then it's getting sorted. So what happens? It's getting sorted according to your experience. And that happens subconsciously. So amygdala decides whether this situation is dangerous or not. If it is not dangerous, it is going to be stored in hippocampus as a memory. And then you are just functioning normally. Everything is fine. But if the information received is considered as dangerous, then amygdala triggers your body and activates the fight or flight mode. When that system is activated, the prefrontal cortex that is in charge of thinking, logic, what to do, evaluation, it shuts down. It is just off. It goes off. So you cannot really think straight. And so one more time, again, I will return back to this moment, but I just want to, just make it really clear here that amygdala makes a decision. Sometimes it happens because of you see bright light, okay, and you get scared straight away. But some things, the amygdala needs to check with the memory if this is dangerous or not. It checks with the memory. And that is so important because if you had a traumatic childhood, if you are constantly not safe, your amygdala keeps thinking that most situations around you are dangerous. That's what happens according to your childhood because you had many traumatic past memories. So what happens with fight or flight? Let's take a look on the picture on the right. So brain signals to adrenaline glands. Then eyes, what do you get? Get tunnel vision. Your ears, auditory exclusion. Lungs, fast breathing. Muscles, tension. Liver, converts glycogen to glucose. Your bladder relaxes, heart accelerates, stomach slows digestion, and adrenal glands produce hormones when your hands are shaking. So that's how it works. And here it is, like I said a minute ago, that's what happens. If you had many painful past experiences, you have that knowledge, you made these conclusions, like this is what life is like, that what can happen if. You expect threat in many situations. Sometimes those situations they're not really that dangerous, but because you had painful past experiences, you consider them as threats. And here, what we are going to do about this. There is one interesting thing that was said by Viktor Frankl, which called between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That comes to the situation when we get activated at work or with our family, for example. Because mostly when I ask my clients and when they come to me, I ask them, okay, that we draw a table and ask them to write all the reasons, like reasons of your stress, who gives you stress, and they write, okay, my husband, my wife, my children, my boss, but they are really not the reason, because you cannot take them out of your life. We're social animals. We need people around us. We need job. You're always going to be stressed. The thing is, like, why do you treat them as triggers? Why they trigger you, and what you can do about this? So here, what I've learned in Arizona Trauma Institute, and this is just, it's blown my mind. This is amazing. So we have our traumas and painful past experiences. We have triggers. Okay, something triggered us. For example, a boss says something to you like, for example, okay, I want to talk to you in 10 minutes. I'm waiting for you in my office. And you have some memories, but before, when you heard that, you had the trouble maybe at home. It's a trigger. So you're getting stressed because of that. So what you can do here, you can pause, right? Do not fly into reaction straight away. That's what usually happens with most people. We get triggered because of the word, sound, smell, and we give the reaction right away. Some people start to yell, some people get sarcastic or snarly. So that's the reaction. But what we can do, we can take this pause, and then we remember, when you pause, you relax your body. And that's the key. Because a very important thing that I've learned, that there is no stress in the relaxed body. There is no stress in the relaxed body. If you are relaxed, the brain thinks that it made a mistake, nothing is happening. It doesn't need to activate. Every emotion that you feel, if there is no story behind it, only lasts for 90 seconds. If it's longer than that, if you are anxious or worried about something for longer than 90 seconds, that might be some unresolved trauma. But normally it's just 90 seconds. So when you pause, the key here is to start feeling those triggers. You need to feel when you get activated, that your muscles are tense, you're uncomfortable, your stomach, right? You feel uncomfortable. You need to recognize your triggers. And whenever that happens, you just pause for a second. You relax your body, you relax your jaw, you relax your stomach, you relax your legs, your fingers. You just relax for a second. And at that moment, your prefrontal cortex is back on. So now you can think clearly, and now you can make a decision which is going to be like wise, not a reactive decision, but a wise decision. And to help us to do that, we will need to create a code of honor, which I think is a really kind of a cool thing, and we will get into it right now. So just one more time, we all have traumas and painful past experiences. So we get triggered when we hear something people say to us. So instead of reaction, what we need to learn is to pause and relax. At that moment, our prefrontal cortex is back on. Now we can ask ourselves this question: how do I choose to behave according to what I think is right in my life? So here is the code of honor and the mission, which I think is really helpful. My clients love it, and I love it personally because it's changed everything for me. So here, what I want you to do, you can do it right now. Imagine that you are on a mission. Well, each and every one of us is on a mission. There is something very important we do in it. There is something important we do for people. And when you think about your life as a mission, you don't really get pissed about small things. You take it differently because okay, I'm on a mission. So there is a story behind this code of honor. My teacher told me that. So there was this very cool surgeon, who was so reactive, and every time when nurses asked him questions or something, he could throw things at them because he was like so pissed because of something. And so after he created his code of honor, now when every time they triggered him, he would cool down and think like, how can I help these people? Because the thing we need to understand, we have a unique mission. We have a unique opportunity to help people to fulfill our mission and to be paid for that, which is incredible. There are many teachers, many professionals on earth. And if we exit somehow the field, there will be other people who will enter and take that place. That's how life works. So it's very important to appreciate this incredible opportunity to fulfill the mission, to get paid for it. And when we think about this way, there is so much gratitude that arises. And this is a beautiful feeling. When you feel grateful about doing your work, when work is not a punishment, when work is an opportunity to fulfill your mission. So the thing I want to offer you to do, just to continue this statement, how do you need to live? I need to live. How? To work. In what way? To continue do what? To love. How? To be whom? To become what? To believe in what? To promote what? To strive, to seek. Continue this list. And this is going to be your code of honor. And so next time when you get frustrated about things at work or at home, just remember this promise you gave to yourself. Relax your body and remember that you are on a special mission. Then you can write your code of honor, which is, for example, my case, I want to do what? I want to say less instead of like talking for hours. I choose to be like what? I choose to be kind instead of rude. And you can write like 5 sentences like that. This is going to be your code of honor. Then you can also answer these 2 questions. Why am I alive? And what is my purpose here? Why am I alive? And what is my purpose here? And now when you keep this in mind, next time when you get triggered and you pause, bring yourself mentally, right? Think about who you want to be, who you want to become, and what that future version of you would do and how that person would behave. And probably that person wouldn't yell or cry because of the, I don't know, because of the stress or something like that. So this is a small, cool tool that I have learned, and I really wanted to share this with you. So then what I wanted really to talk about is positive habits. But before I get into this, I want to maybe get a little bit back to this moment about trauma. And I've watched a film called Wisdom of Trauma. And I would love every single teacher to watch this film. It's incredible. It features Canadian doctor, Gabor Mate. And so he has his own research in stress addictions and its connection to past traumas and the ACE scores. So I don't know if you heard about the ACE score. ACE score is Adverse Childhood Experience score. And so if you are a kind of very anxious person, if you get depressed easily, if you doubt yourself, if you are depressed, it's very likely that your ACE score is pretty high. And usually these kind of people who come to me with depression, when they pass the ACE quiz, they have 4 or 5 points, ACE scores. And that means that they had a pretty traumatic childhood. And as I told you before, when you had a traumatic childhood, when you grew up in a dangerous neighborhood, when you were not treated kindly, there are 10 questions in ACE quiz, and you can pass that ACE quiz on my Instagram page. So the higher your score, the more likely you get CPTSD. And CPTSD is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And if you are depressed, if you struggle with addictions, anything like small things make you cry, and you think your life is very, very stressful, I would suggest, and I really think you should, pass that ACE quiz and look at your score. And if it's more than 4 points, that's most likely there's nothing wrong with you. You probably have CPTSD. And so many educators I ever worked with do have CPTSD. And that's why the job is so stressful, because as kids, we did not learn how to self-regulate. That's why we cannot really, we don't know how to handle things. Like we usually meet, you can meet two teachers and one teacher is like, oh, everything is fine. Like I have some small job problems, I'm okay. And you don't see them struggle. And another person is going to suffer and stay in bed and get depressed and stop, taking care of themselves. And we can't tell that person like, stop doing this, what's wrong with you? That person probably has CPTSD. That's how CPTSD shows up. So if you are depressed, anxious, if you have panic attacks, if you smoke a lot, if you, whenever you get stressed, you start drinking, if you have problems like having connections with people, if you have very serious chronic diseases, you most likely have CPTSD, and you can cure it, and then your life is going to be almost stress-free. Like we're still going to experience stressful situations, it happens, but you're going to manage it differently. People with CPTSD do not know how to manage stress, and because of the past traumas. And past traumas stay in the body. The body keeps the score. So we might not want to think about things that happened to us in the past, but they are inside our body as tension. And then we just get triggered very easily, and we keep being very stressed about things when it really has nothing to do with what's going on at this very moment. We are just stuck in the psychological time. Our body is stuck. It keeps the trauma, and the trauma shows as, as high stress today. So if you are this kind of case, if you struggle, text me, no problem. I'll give you the score. And I'll give you gladly today already, I'll teach you, if you are very stressed, how you can handle this, what you can do about this before you ever decide to go to find a specialist, go to see a psychologist or any trauma-informed specialist. So here what we can do. It's very important to have these positive new habits. Old habits, old you. New habits, new you. We all have the autopilot mode, which is managed by our subconscious mind. So that's what we learned in our childhood. And if we learned, like, for example, whenever you are stressed, to just sit down and watch TV, that's what you're going to go back to whenever you are stressed. So that's how you stay in predictable patterns. So, but new habits will always get you out of whatever difficult times you go through. And I suggest to practice slow mornings. Slow morning without social media and phones and news. Because the moment you wake up, you really wake up a brand new person. Your body is relaxed, you rested, so you feel great. But the moment you take this into your hands, this is like a very negative trigger. You straight away remember how old are you, where you're from, how heavy you are, I don't know how much you earn, what you like about your life, what you don't like about your life. This is like a massive negative trigger. The moment you take this into your hands, all the relaxation you got through the sleep, it just goes down the drain. So I suggest just try it. Just give yourself 1 week of slow mornings without phones, news, and social media. So you wake up first and you make sure that you fill up your cup. And what you can do, first you can listen or read some affirmations aloud. Like I have my own affirmations. I have recorded on my phone. I put some music on it. So I wake up and I listen to them first. For example, my sister has another little ritual. She drinks a cup of water when she wakes up. And before drinking that water, she speaks the affirmations to the water. So she says, you are gorgeous, you are beautiful, you can do it, you are amazing, you are a millionaire, you are going to rock this world, okay? And then with this mood, she drinks that water and she says it makes her feel good like almost instantly. And you probably heard the research that the water absorbs the information, even the crystals of water freeze into different shapes, depends on like the energy or atmosphere the water was in. So it does work. Try that. Next thing is meditation. Why meditation is important? Because it helps you to activate the prefrontal cortex and it quiets your mind. So we all have that voice in our head, which is pretty much, if you read, like some people say that this is actually what ego is. So it's the voice in our head. That is a product of the mind. Our mind is a tool, it keeps thinking, it has a particular function. The mind's function is to resolve problems. The mind is negative. It needs to look for a problem, find solution, find the problem, find solution. Little one here, hello. Okay, so that's how it works. It's very negative. And if we identify ourselves with the voice in our head, that's when life gets messy. That is when you hear this thing like, oh, maybe I cannot do that, or you listen to the conversations you had before, you just watch it. This is not you. This is the mind. This is this voices are, or usually it's one voice, it's a product of the mind. You can choose what you think. If you have these intrusive thoughts like, oh, you cannot do it, if we are not going to, it's not going to work out, or stuff like that, you can shut it down with meditation or not. You can choose to read affirmations instead, but you don't need to listen and you don't need to act on what the mind says. Mind is a hell machine. Meditation helps to quiet the mind and you get more control. You are the one. So some people straight away ask me, like, if I'm not the voice in my head, who am I? I am the one who is watching, who watches that voice. You are the one who is watching. Moreover, if you sit in meditation and you just wait for the next thought to appear, you will find out that nothing comes for a very long time. Because this thing works when you are not watching. So it works subconsciously, and that actually, yeah, it sometimes makes a mess in our life. Meditation is the key. If you're not comfortable, like the mindfulness practices, like when you sit and you are quiet, some people are not comfortable with that, I suggest to download some guided meditations for relaxations for money. Why not? You can start meditating for money and see how it's going to work for you. Still, it gives you an opportunity to get out of your head and back into your body. And the body lives in the present moment. And that's where there are no troubles, no anxiety. Everything is great. So that's so important to get out of the head and get into your body. Meditation helps with this. Then next thing is dancing, shaking, tapping, yoga, stretching. Again, what it does to us, it helps you to get back to the present moment. It helps you get back into your body and out of the busy mind. So you can do that in the morning. You can do it when you are stressed. It helps you to change the energy and you instantly feel better. If you are depressed, start dancing every morning or shaking. Shaking helps to release trauma. So like, for example, some let's say like war veterans who do not want to go to talk therapies, they have special set of exercises that include shaking. So shaking helps you to release stress and trauma. Then yoga and stretching is just good. You just make a little routine. Next thing is music. I suggest you check the playlist because we usually have some negative triggers in that playlist. Some sad songs that remind us about, like, I don't know, the love we had or some moments that are long gone. It can be a negative trigger that every time you listen to the song, it brings you back to the sad times. Make sure that you have inspirational music in your playlist. It is very important. Music can be a positive trigger or a negative trigger. Make sure you do not have negative triggers around the house. You actually can scan the space for negative triggers. You might have some old clock that reminds you about some not very nice person. Just throw it away, put it away. Try to get rid of all the negative triggers in your environment. Next thing, when you feel that you are getting depressed, you don't want to wake up in the morning, you are anxious, you have too many thoughts in your head, it's an absolute rule, no more than 8 hours in bed, because this is the first sign of depression. You want to lie down, and that's when things get bad. So make sure if you feel you're a bit down, do not stay in bed for longer than 8 hours. If you have a habit of lying in bed with your phone, quit it. If you feel bad and depressed, don't do it. It's going to do only worse. Next thing is socializing and sharing. And this is also a very ancient mechanism. So long time ago, when humans were cavemen, what life was like, right? You run away from the tiger, from the mammoth, whatever, and then you sit in a cave around the fire and you tell stories about what it was like and how you survived. And when we communicate, our body relaxes. There is no stress, no trauma activated. So talking, sharing, socializing, meeting with friends, it works. If you feel sad, do not close yourself to the world. Go and talk to someone. This is so important to make you feel instantly better. And one more time, try to not check your phone until you've done all that. The slow morning, affirmations, meditation. Now, when you are ready, you feel happy, you feel you're in a good mood, then you can turn your phone on. I usually have my phone on a pilot mode till breakfast, even after breakfast, till after breakfast, because sometimes I can just get some really sad news, or something that I'm not ready to deal with in the morning. But after breakfast, I'm fed, I'm happy, I'm relaxed, and now I can deal with things in a different way. So it's not like you have to do it, but just give it a week, as like a scientist, like you make a research, just to see how your body will react to that, how you're going to feel about this. So, and now we're getting to the most important part, and it's stress management. It's going to be really quick, but here what you have to do. If you feel triggered, if something is going on at work or in your family, you feel angry, you feel anxious or something like that, here what you need to do. First is intentional relaxation. You relax your jaw, you relax your abdomen, because there is no stress in the relaxed body. Relax your body. And you probably should make a habit of scanning your body throughout the day when you work on the computer, just to make sure that you don't have your shoulders like that and your hands are not like this. Yeah, like make sure that your body is relaxed. There is no stress in the relaxed body. Return to the present moment. Concentrate on your breathing if you feel scared, anxious, angry, irritated. Concentrate on your breathing. You can sniff some essential oil, because that also helps you to return back to the present moment. I buy perfume, and just you get off to it and you're like, oh, life is good. Favorite perfume, that's gonna be good. Next thing is recognize the trigger. What triggered you? It was a word, a sound, light, whatever. Recognize the trigger. It's all gonna get good from there. Affirmations, meditations, you can tell yourself, I'm going to be okay, I'm a great person, I'm a great teacher. Or you can go and give yourself 3-5 minutes breather, meditate. Talk and share, do not close up. Body scan, you scan your body from the top to the bottom, make sure that every group of muscles is relaxed. Then you can try shake it off. That is really good. Seriously, if you are at school or something, or you are at home, you just go to another room and just shake it off. Shake it off. Next is EFT tapping, and I'm going to show you this right now, and you can try it with me. Whenever you get really anxious, or I don't know, you start doubting yourself, like, oh, let's say I'm a bad teacher. Okay, I have a thought in my head, I'm a bad teacher. I'll sit down and do EFT tapping. That's what it looks like. Even though I'm a bad teacher, I still love and accept myself. Even though I am terrible, I cannot teach nothing to anyone, I still love and accept myself. Even though I'm a terrible person, I still love and accept myself. Even though I have no money and completely broke, I still love and accept myself. And you do that, there are several points, like here on the top of your head, up above the eyebrow, on the right side, on the left side, here, over here, your chest, and the left here, like the ribs. So you tap on them. This works. You can read about EFT tapping, you can watch some videos on YouTube. If you have some limiting beliefs around money or something like that, do that about money. Whenever you doubt yourself, like you are afraid to be a millionaire, say, even though I'm a millionaire and I'm the worst person in the world, because all millionaires are bad, I still love and accept myself. So you just tap the acceptance into your body. It works, I don't know, 95% of the time. Next is, as I showed you in the beginning, is the butterfly breathing, because this reminds us about our mother when, when we cried as children and, she rocked us, and, this soft, gentle tapping makes us feel that we are comforted. The next thing you can do, you can just hug yourself and do like that, which also works. It helps you to calm down instantly. And then exercise, walk, yoga, and qigong. The energy practices are always so good and will help you to heal your body. So that's it. And I have a stress relief workbook for you, which you can download. I don't know how we can make it work, Kate. I can send it to you and maybe you upload it to the website. It's a 7-day consciousness workbook. Let's say it's just for you to try the whole thing, like just to watch your body, write down your thoughts, stay grateful, meditate every day, and I don't know, just try it and see how it's going to work for you.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Wow. I kind of feel like I've been in therapy. I kind of want to cry, but like a good cry. Thank you. Oh, Lily. Wow. Okay. Any questions from anybody about stress and stress management? Something that you've kind of been thinking in the back of your head this whole time, or want to clarify with Lily?
I see some messages here.
Yeah, I think you've given us a lot to think about. Oh, sorry.
I can see the chat now. I just didn't know where the chat is. So I can take another, like, if you guys have questions, you can write your questions right now while I'll show you my workbook really quickly, like 2-3 minutes. So if you download it, you know how to work it. So just give me another second. I have it opened already. Okay. And I'm going to share my screen. Share this screen. Okay, that's what it is. That's what it looks like. Oh, okay. Here it is. Okay, so this is the stress relief workbook that I have developed for myself. And after I tried that, you can read a short history here behind it. So I created it for myself to see how it's going to affect my body symptoms. And as I said, I had a very severe acne on my face, and I have found out that after doing this regularly, my physical symptoms of stress started to disappear. And now, as you see, I'm like, my skin is good. It's like so much better than it ever was before. So I also tried it with a test group, and I do stress relief coaching, personal and group coaching. So there is some information here. That's what you're going to do. If you want to try this, write the starting date, your physical symptoms of stress. It can be anything. If you struggle with headaches or you miss your periods or whatever it is, you write it down because it's all stress related, like 95% of the time. Then you write your ACE score, and that's important because, as I said, if your ACE score is 4 or above, it's most likely that you have CPTSD. That's complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So, and if nothing is wrong with you, you just need some help. Next thing, you can pass a depression and anxiety stress test, and you can link on the name, and it will bring you straight away to the website. You can write down your mood, your addictions or bad habits if you have any. For me, it was excessive smoking, and I quit smoking after I tried this program. I didn't smoke for 6 months. Then whether it's like mild, moderate, severe, sleep quality. And here it is, my inner critic. As I said, when you watch that voice in your head, you will see that it's like a character. For me, I gave it a name. It's Jane Eyre. It's so dramatic. It's like, oh my God, passed through life doing this and that. And it's like she's always suffering and struggling, and like she's such an actress. And so that is not me. This is the nature of my thought. That's what my inner critic is like. So you can give it a picture. I have my clients do really, they find really fun characters. So identify that inner voice. And the next time you hear the buzz, like, oh, you can't do that, you give it a name, call it Patricia, and say, Patricia, just shut up. You just don't associate yourself with it. Then the wheel of balance, it will help you to analyze every area of your life, whether it's developed or not. So you will see if for example, your relationships are great, you spend a lot of time with your loved ones, then you can mark it as 10. But for example, your health is just so it's going to be like, let's say 2 or 4. So then you will see what area of your life needs your special attention. It should be 10, 10, 10 everywhere. So then you're going to be like happy and balanced. Then this is the emotional scale. Just a few words. Make sure you stay above that gray line. Make sure that whatever happens, do not stay for too long being angry, discouraged. Don't blame yourself. Don't stay in a worry, hatred, rage, jealousy. When you stay in those vibrations, you get somatic symptoms of stress. You get sick. This is the first thing. Second thing, every emotion had a certain frequency. If you've ever heard about Joe Dispenza, you can read the research about that. Every emotion has a frequency. You start attracting some really creepy things into your life. Because like what they say, like if you work on the first floor, you're going to meet people from the first floor most often. If you are jealous, you're going to meet people who are going to reflect that in your life. If you are very sad, if you are depressed, you're going to meet people just like that. The outside world is going to reflect this to you. You're going to be unable to see the good because inside you're suffering. So just whatever it takes, get out of that, just always stay above the gray line. What can help you with that is writing gratitude journal. Always, every day, try to find at least 5 things to be grateful for. It will, and shake it off or dance. It will help you change your energies in the body. If you're familiar about qigong, so it's the energy in the body, and you're just gonna feel better. Okay, so just get above the gray line. Don't stay below for too long. Then the pleasure menu. It's so important for mental health and well-being to do things you really love. So if you like drawing, singing, going to sauna, a spa, massages, make sure that every day you do at least 1, 2, or 3 things out of that pleasure menu to make your life full. Just make sure that that pleasure menu is printed somewhere, I don't know, in a visible place. And every day you ask yourself, how I can make myself happy today? Okay. The next thing is what you're going to do is write your emotions, what you felt today. You need to start to be aware of your emotions because they hide from us, we ignore them. Physical sensations, what you feel in your body. Like if you are angry, where is this anger in your body? In your stomach, in your chest, in your hands? It's always somewhere in the body. You're going to feel it. And then write what you're grateful for. This is your gratitude journal. Then stress levels today, from 1 to 10, you're going to feel this number come in your head. So you just write it down. Tick off what you've done today for your mental well-being: affirmations, meditations, music, moving, shaking, tapping, relaxation. And here you can write your thoughts. Whatever worries you, write it down. So the mind will feel like, okay, this situation is resolved. Okay, so this is it. This is it. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
There we go. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Lily. I think things like that, things with, anything in order to just improve our own life in any way, even if we consider ourselves a pretty happy person, we've always got room for improvement. So that is amazing. There's one story that I have that I'll share now before we finish up for now. So I have a favorite podcaster. And at one point she had a very similar list of your, the emotions there, from the into the red and to the blue and all that. And she said that a lot of the times, what creates depression, what creates people feeling disappointed in themselves is that they want to be right at the top and they're down, somewhere in the middle, or they want to be right at the top and they're really far down and it's impossible to get themselves from the bottom to the top, or they feel that it's overwhelming. And what she said instead was to just try and go 3 steps higher than where you currently are. So, you don't shoot for the stars in that moment. It's okay if you can't get there, but how can I get from worry to, to content? Or how can I get from content to some satisfied, and then satisfied to excited? To go from worry to excited is not always necessarily possible.
Yep.
But to just know where you are, put your finger on where you are, and try and get yourself 3 steps higher. And then you feel good about yourself. And then all of a sudden it feels easier. Right. So I think having that visual there in your book is amazing, because that's the kind of thing you can go, okay, where am I right now? And how do I just get here? Or like you said, to the gray line. How do I just get above the gray line? I don't need to be excited. I don't need to be happy. I don't need to be those things. I just need to get back to the gray line.
Another thing I forgot to say, that every emotion has an allowable good number. So that the percent is like the percentage of what you can receive from the world. So if you feel guilt, that's 3% of like you allow yourself like 3% of goodness. You are not going to receive love or happiness or worth or money because you feel guilty. So the higher the more happy your emotions are, the more allowable good there, the more great things you can attract. You simply can accept it into your life, because a guilty person cannot allow themselves to accept good. And another thing, yes, absolutely right. That actually was a part of the emotional intelligence training, which is so good. You just need really just small steps. If you feel guilty, get angry about it. If you feel guilty, unworthy, insecure, jealous, you depressed, I don't know, you feel fear, next step you do, get angry about it. After that, blame someone for that. Yeah, I know it's not very mature, but it's gonna make you feel better. Blame it on someone. Say, why did they do that to me? And then try to find some contentment, like okay, or some hope, and then forgiveness. You definitely cannot get from fear to love and light.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Lily. Anyone here who has any more questions, we'll let this go for the day so everybody can get some lunch before we start up again in a half an hour. But obviously, I mean, if anybody has any questions, please follow Lily, because her posts and page, I mean, I've shared your stuff before because I just resonate so well with it. Follow her. She is a guru in the making. Oh, thank you, Lily. Okay, guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to seeing you again.